Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Today we pay tribute to those that have served our country and have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. And we celebrate with America's pastime. It's a Memorial Day matinee today. We welcome you to the O.Co Coliseum. We're in Oakland, Game 1 in this three-game series featuring the Tigers and the Athletics. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers Baseball. Happy Memorial Day. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad to have you with us for Game 1 in this series. And Rod, the Tigers start a 7-game trip out west. They do so against an Oakland team that has really struggled this year. Time to jump on them.
Yeah, Oakland really is struggling, but they did win back-to-back games in Tampa. They just got back home late last night from the East Coast. But this is a team that's also struggling at home. They've only won 5 games right here in their home ballpark, which is the fewest in the majors. But the Tigers can't take them lightly. They have to come out and play a nice, clean game.
All right, no Miguel Cabrera in the lineup today. He gets a day off. So let's see who might step up for the Tigers in the driver's seat, brought to you by Kia. Well, that might be Yoenis Cespedes, the former Oakland Athletic, who has put up some big numbers in his career in this ballpark.
Well, this is a big ballpark, and he plays big boy baseball, Yoenis Cespedes. Home runs since he put on the Oakland Athletics uniform back in 2012. No one's hit more in this ballpark, and up and down from an offensive standpoint, no one has done the kind of damage that Cespedes has done here in this particular uniform playing for the Oakland Athletics. This crowd should give him a nice round of applause. He put up good numbers in this ballpark.
All right, after a short break, we'll send you back to the Coliseum Studios. Check in with Matt Shepard. Game 1 of the series coming up, and also coming up this afternoon, Shane Green will take them out for the Tigers. 3 straight pretty good outings for Shane Green. Let's see if he can keep it rolling. Tigers and A's coming up next. Tigers start a 7-game road swing here today as we welcome you inside O.co Coliseum in Oakland, California. And we'll check out the Tigers starting lineup here today, presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. For Brad Oscars, a little bit of a different look today. Anthony Ghost will lead off in center field, followed by Kinsler at second. J.D. Martinez batting third instead of Cabrera, who gets the day off. You've got Cespedes in left, Collins in right, Castellanos at third. Bottom three of McCann, Perez, and Machado. And they are facing 25-year-old right-hander Jesse Hahn.
Jesse Hahn got off to a decent start this year, but he has struggled in his last 5 starts. Oakland has lost all 5 of those starts. He has a pretty nice sinker, around 90 to 91 when he's getting the ball down. If he's getting lots of ground balls, he should have success today. He also has an outstanding curveball.
All right, the Tigers come in today at 26-19. The Athletics have the worst record in baseball at 16-30. We'll see if the Tigers can take advantage over the next 3 days here in Oakland as Anthony Ghost gets set to lead things off for the Tigers. It'll be Ghost, Kinsler, and J.D. Martinez against the right-hander Hahn. And today's first pitch is fouled back out of play on 1.
What a difference a year makes. Last year, the Tigers were out here on Memorial Day. The Oakland Athletics were one of the hottest teams in baseball, and this ballpark was absolutely full. It was a sellout.
Yeah, they were the best team in baseball for the first half of last season. Here's the 0-1, swing and a miss.
And very important for Ghost not to chase that 93-mile-per-hour four-seam fastball upstairs.
Ghost had a really good homestand. In fact, a really good series against the Astros. Was 8 for 16 against Houston. Trying to get it started here against Hahn. The 0-2 pitch. A little bit outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Hahn is a slender fella, isn't he?
He is indeed. They've got him at 6'5", 190. Native of Connecticut.
Soaking wet, 190.
He's got the socks up high to the knees. The 1-2 just missed, 2-2.
Good sinker there, and just missed on the inside corner. Did not get the call from the home plate umpire, Mark Rippiger, here this afternoon.
Ghost comes in at 336. He's got 11 RBIs this year. And he takes the ball high. So Anthony now has gone ahead 3-2. Ian Kinsler in the on-deck circle. First of 3 here in Oakland, and then it's on to Anaheim, a 4-game series against the Angels. 3-2 is hit on the ground to second base and gobbled up there by Eric Silva. 1 gone.
Let's take a look at the Oakland Athletics starting defense. It is brought to you by Tim Hortons. In the outfield, they have Fold, they have Burns, they have Reddick. Simeon's the shortstop. Sogard, he is the second baseman. Muncy at third. Kanya, he's at first. And Vogt, Stephen Vogt, having an outstanding offensive year behind the dish. But this offense in the defense for the Oakland Athletics has not been good this year. 46 errors in 46 games.
So here is Kinsler now with 1 out. Ian fighting it right now. He's 0 for his last 16. And he'll look at a strike. Came down to Kinsler and Cabrera. Those were the 2 that had started every game this year for the Tigers. And Miguel gets the day off today, so Kinsler is the last man standing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And really, it's like 2 days off for Miguel. They traveled 4 hours on the plane to the West Coast. He gets the day off, and the Tigers don't play again until tomorrow night. So a nice breather for Miggy.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. 1-2 on Kinsler. Ian shakes his head at that last call by Mark Rippiger. Kinsler takes outside, level the count now, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, there's that big breaking ball that Hahn will feature, and he'll throw that breaking ball quite often this afternoon.
Hahn acquired from the San Diego Padres, the Derek Norris deal. And Ian sends a ground ball towards short. Semien with a running scoop. Quick throw is in town. 2 gone. Through the fuel conditions today, presented by Ace Hardware and the Scott's Company. 58 degrees our game time temp. A little bit cloudy here and a little bit humid, but otherwise a nice day for baseball. The sun is doing its best to peek through the clouds.
Yeah, Simeon's made quite a few errors at the shortstop position already this season. As a matter of fact, there are some that believe he's better suited as a second baseman in the future or an outfielder, but right now he's their shortstop.
Here's J.D. Martinez with 2 outs. Every time we come here to the ballpark in Oakland, we talk about all that foul ground, that foul territory, first and third base lines, and it's something, I guess, for visiting infielders to keep in mind.
If you play half your home games here as a hitter, you're going to lose at least 10 at-bats due to pop-ups.
That's in the air, shallow right field. On the move is Reddick to make the play, and the Tigers go 1-2-3 in the first inning. Here come the A's against Shane Green.
And very important for Green to utilize his changeup today. Left-handers are hitting a little bit better this year against the right-hander Green than the right-handers are, so it's going to be important for him to throw some quality changeups this afternoon.
This is a different looking lineup these days for the Athletics. It is presented today by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Billy Burns leads it off in center field, followed by Marcus Semien and Josh Reddick. Stephen Vogt having a terrific season batting cleanup. Billy Butler, the former Royal, has always had good numbers against the Tigers. Muncy, Fold, and Sogard round out the lineup for the Athletics. So Billy Burns leads it off, batting .309. He's hit 1 home run this year, and he's knocked in a couple, trying to get it started for the A's.
And that 1 home run for Billy Burns came yesterday afternoon in Tampa. It was the first pitch of the game that he connected for his first major league home run.
He had gone over 400 minor league at-bats with only 2 homers.
Yeah, 5 years in the bushes, so he doesn't have a whole lot of pop in that bat.
Speed as well, 7 stolen bases this year. Want to keep him off the base paths. And a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike on Billy Burns. Marcus Semien, Josh Reddick to follow, just underway here in Oakland. Chokes up on the bat. And the 1-1. Shane Green, his last 3 starts have been awfully good, a 1.40 ERA. A slice toward left field. And Cespedes goes back to make the play.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense. It is presented by Beaumont Health System this afternoon. Cespedes, Ghost, Collins in the outfield. Hernan Perez, first career start at first base. You've got Kinsler, Machado, and Castellanos in the infield with him, and Green is the pitcher, and James McCann is the catcher. Tigers have some good hands in the infield today, buddy, with Perez playing first and Kinsler and Machado up the middle. That's 3 former shortstops.
Yeah, it's a different look for the Tigers today, but certainly some guys that can handle themselves on the infield.
Of course, Kinsler played the shortstop in high school, collegiately.
Marcus Semien, the former White Sox infielder, is hitting now with 1 out.
He's been scuffling a little bit last 7 games. The hits have been hard to come by for Semien.
Stands deep in the box, and he skies this one in the air to shallow right. Kinsler back, but it is Collins in from his right field position. 2 gone. And now Josh Reddick. Odetco Coliseum here in Oakland on Memorial Day. Glad to have you with us. The Tigers and the Athletics get together.
Yeah, Reddick is one guy that you want to be conscious of always. He's off to a good start this year, and he's done his best work right here in his home ballpark.
Reddick has knocked in 30 runs this year in his heyday here, which was just a couple of years ago, the 2012 season. He was batting 3rd in their lineup, and he's back to 3rd now in the lineup. Missed it outside.
Yeah, no coincidence that he would take the first pitch. Reddick takes the first pitch about 90% of the time.
Here's the 1-1, and it's outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Now Green with the 2-1 offering. It's in the air down the left field line. Long run for Castellanos, who won't get there. Right back into the bullpen of the A's. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Athletics have won 2 in a row, but they have not won 3 straight since early August of last year. It's kind of hard to believe.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
August 17th and through the 19th last year is the last time they won 3 games in a row.
Bouncing ball right side. And that's going to be it as Reddick is thrown out by Kinsler. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the second. Is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. When it's time, come to Comerica. Ram, come discover great deals during the Ram Drive and Discover events. And by Dean's Country Fresh Premium Ice Cream. Get real. Let's go look at Alcatraz here in the Bay Area, where the Tigers and A's are going at it. Nice round of applause for Yoenis Cespedes, who leads it off for the Tigers. And he looks at a strike. Cespedes, Collins, and Castellanos. This is the first trip back to Oakland for Yoenis since being traded to the Red Sox last year. Bouncing ball third base side off the glove of Muncy. He's not going to be able to make a play.
Muncy basically allowed that ground ball to eat him up. It had some tremendous top spin on it. By the time he recognized that he couldn't charge it, he was backing up and he got caught on his heels. And because he got caught on his heels, the ball simply hit off the heel of his glove. Another error for the Oakland Athletics defenders.
They've now committed 47 errors, the most in baseball. And there you go. Milwaukee is next in line, and they have 38.
And really, with Hahn on the mound, they've played their poorest defense. He's already given up 7 runs, 7 unearned runs this year, 11 total runs, while they're playing bad defense behind him.
So we'll see if the Tigers can take advantage here as Tyler Collins stands in. Collins getting the start in right field today. He had been pretty much DHing for Detroit with Victor Martinez on the DL.
And told you Hahn has a good sinker. There's no doubt he's trying to get Collins to hit something on the ground. It might not be a bad idea to start Cespedes from first base.
Bouncing ball to short. This looks like it might be 2, 6-4, and 3. That's a double play.
Tigers hit into quite a few twin killings in that 4-game series against the Houston Astros, and they've hit into a lot of double plays already this year. I think Brad, the next time he gets in this situation, might just start the runner.
Number 9, Nick.
So here's Nick Castellanos. Austin is not happy about yesterday's loss to the Houston Astros. The Tigers had a big lead in that game, but all of a sudden things unraveled quickly.
Tigers struck out 15 Astros yesterday and still gave up 10 runs.
Well, how often do you see a line in which your starting pitcher gives up 7 runs and strikes out 11?
Right.
It's just an odd day. Tigers came in trailing KC by 3, but the Royals were throttled today in New York 14-1.
Again, they've lost back-to-back games.
1 ball, 1 strike on Nick Castellanos.
Tigers couldn't take advantage of the Kansas City Royals loss yesterday.
Castellanos coming off a homestand in which he had 7 hits. Tap foul, 1-2.
Hahn has a fastball that will get up to 95, although very seldom does he get to that velocity. Most of his heaters are 91 to 93 with a lot of movement. He's got a curveball that he likes a lot. Changeup that he does not throw to the right-handed batters. And he has a slider that he'll use mostly to the righties.
And Castellanos again just gets a piece to stay alive. Hahn pretty much put himself on the map last year, making the jump from Double-A to the big leagues as a member of the Padres. Was 7-4 in his 14 appearances. Castellanos swings and just again got a piece of it.
Really good breaking ball here thrown by Hahn. He starts it way up in the strike zone, and then as a hitter you see the ball at one eye level, and then all of a sudden it comes straight off the table. That's a big break to that curveball.
Hahn again with the 1-2. Another breaking ball hit in the air towards center field. Shallow. It's going to drop. Base hit. 2-out single for Castellanos. Hey, by the way, stay tuned for Tigers Live following the game. We'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by the 2 for $5 mix or match filet of fish and 10-piece McNuggets. We'll keep the inning going now for James McCann. Tigers have their first hit here this afternoon.
McCann batting a cool 300.
How about that? A really impressive start to the season for McCann, who obviously has gotten his chance to play with Alex Avila on the disabled list.
He's done a lot of positive things on both sides of the ball.
Fastball from Hahn misses low and away.
Well, McCann had a good series against the Astros. You'll remember the walk-off he hit on Thursday. He also 5 for 12 in that series against the Astros. On the inside part of the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's some numbers over the last 10 games for James. 353 clip. Tigers coming into this game had won 5 of their last 8 on the road. And they'll spend the next week on the road here in Oakland and then down to Anaheim. There are the numbers on Brad Ausmus in his 2nd season with the Tigers. Here's the 2-1. Swing and miss. 2-2 on James McCann. Hernan Perez waiting on deck. McCann waits on the 2-2. Bouncing ball to third base. Muncy has this one. He'll go short way. And that'll end the inning. No runs, hit and error, 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 2nd.
Welcome back to Oakland, where we are scoreless. Young Dixon Machado learned on the team's flight from Detroit to Oakland last night that he would be making his major league debut today. I asked Brad Ausmus this morning, is that one of those cool aspects of being a manager where you get to tell a kid that his dream is realized? Ausmus just kind of shrugged, and I said, how can your heart be that stony that that's not a big deal for you? He said, I wanted to make sure that he was able to sleep on the plane so he'd be ready for his first game here today. We'll see him bat in the next half inning. Mario, right?
All right, Keats, thanks. Well, I would imagine he didn't sleep all that much.
He didn't sleep last night.
Not at all. His big league debut, Mr. Machado.
Shouldn't have told him until he got here this morning.
Down goes the hitter of Stephen Vogt, who had to skip out of the way.
And not a bad pitch there by Green. And no intent. It's simply making Vogt move his feet. Vogt has been their best hitter. And bar none. Good two-seam fastball inside.
Vogt at 306 has hit 10 home runs already this year. And that's a career high, and we're not even 2 months into the season.
OPS over 1,000.
That's popped up in the foul territory, but this one with all the room and the shift on, no one had a chance to get there.
And Derek Norris, who got most of the reps at the catching position last year for the A's, traded to the Padres, and now Vogt gets a lot of those reps behind the dish.
Well, when you talk about some of the better hitting catchers in the American League, Vogt's name is not really usually mentioned, but he leads catchers in homers and RBIs. 1-2 is lifted in the air to shallow center field. Going to drop. Base hit. Right in front of Anthony Gose. Leadoff single for Stephen Vogt.
He just fought that one off. He didn't necessarily barrel it up. He hit it down more on the label, but Vogt strong enough to muscle it in for a single in front of Anthony Gose in center field. And Billy Butler, and Tigers fans know Billy Butler. He grounds into a lot of double plays. He's already grounded into 8 this year, and that's exactly what Shane Green should be trying to accomplish here.
Butler wearing Oakland colors these days after spending his entire career in Kansas City, 8 seasons in KC.
He used to wear out Tigers pitching too when he was wearing that Royals uniform.
Butler last year batted .271 for the Royals, and that was a career low. He was typically around .300 with KC. And he backs out and takes a strike from Green. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, career lows in a lot of offensive categories last year for Billy Butler, and that's the reason why they did not pick up his option. And they decided to sign Kendrys Morales, who's done very nice work in Kansas City.
Verlander, one of the guys that Butler would consistently beat up on.
Oh yeah, he picked on the number 1s.
Here's the 1-1. Swing and miss. 1-2 on Billy Butler.
Good pitch there by Green. And Billy Butler obviously was looking for a fastball.
.324 career against the Tigers.
Shane Green still looking for that ground ball.
Leadoff single by Vogt. Two and two on Butler. James McCann, the one thing he has shown, Rod, is the ability to block a baseball.
He has done a lot of really nice things, Mario. I mean, his aptitude is very, very high. He handles the pitching staff. They love throwing to him. He's got a great arm throwing down to second base. It's tough to steal against him. He just looks the part. He's what they look like.
Yeah, that's what the old saying is. Green now with the 2-2. In the air to center. Ghost is under it, and Billy Butler is retired. 1 away. Here is our T-Mobile game changer, and we want to talk about Shane Green here because it really has been sort of a roller coaster. Remember the first 3? He was unbelievable with an 0.39 ERA. And then what happened in his middle 3?
I don't know, man, but he'd like to slot out somewhere in the middle there. And if he does so, he'll have a marvelous season with the offensive support that he should receive the remainder of the year with the Tigers' very good offensive team.
Max Muncy will step in. .225 batting average. They'll play the shift on against Muncy. Fouled back 0-1. A couple of home runs for Muncy. He has knocked in 4 this year. Called up from the AAA team on April the 25th, where he was hitting .293. There's Machado, the lone defender to the left of second base, the rookie. On the outer edge. 0-2.
And Brett Laurie there every day in the third baseman. He's been out the last couple of days battling some lower back stiffness.
You just got Ben Zobrist back. He was on the disabled list.
Again, the A's fighting it early in the season, 16-30, the worst record in baseball coming into play today. Swing and a miss. Nope, he just got a piece of it to stay alive. The A's had lost 5 consecutive series before they split their 4-game set with the Tampa Bay Rays.
It's been a difficult year for Bob Melvin, who took over a few years ago, and they've played some outstanding baseball under Bob, but this year they're scuffling.
Yeah, they had back-to-back 90-plus win seasons prior to last year. 1-2.
Like the fact that Shane Green continues to throw that really good two-seam fastball inside, and it would open up the door for the changeup fading away from some of these left-handers, but he has to have the confidence into throwing that pitch.
That's wasted foul, back out of play.
Here's a changeup here thrown by Green, but he gets too much plate with it. I mean, you want to fade this from a little bit further away from Muncy, the left-handed batters, and you possibly could get a swing and miss. Too much plate there with 2 strikes on that changeup. But I like the idea. Ooh. Got pretty close.
2-2. Where was it?
Mr. Fox Tracks has got it a hair off the inside corner.
Green last year averaged about 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's not near that this year. Here's the 2-2, and he got him strike 3. Muncy took 1 too many. That's the first strikeout of the ball game for Shane.
Batting in the 7th position, first baseman, number 20.
It's a good pitch.
Yeah, right on the edge. McCann held it there. 2 outs. Here's Marcana batting .229. In there for a strike, 0-1.
Cana's got some pop in his bat. Last year hit 20 home runs, drove in 82. Also hit over 300.
But he recently went through a stretch in which he was 0 for 20. Green's 0-1. No balls, 2 strikes on the first baseman of the Athletics.
Shane has all of his pitches working early here today. And the breaking ball's been nice and sharp. He's thrown a few changeups. That 2-seamer, 92 to 93, he's got some good life on it as well. Pitching inside.
Leadoff single by Vogt, but 2 outs later, Kana is up there. 5 of his last 10 hits have been home runs. He has a total of 6 on the year. And the 0-2. Outside. Shane Green in search of his 5th win of the season, 4-2 record, ERA a shade over 4. Last start a good one against the Milwaukee Brewers. One and 2, the count remains. Sam Fuld on deck. And again the 1-2. Missed inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Green had a 1-2-3 first. Vogt at first base with 2 gone here in the second. Their only hit so far. And there's strike 3 in the outer edge. A couple of strikeouts to close out the frame for Shane Green. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Tigers baseball today presented by Bell Tire.
Joining the military at age 18, Marcus Morales spent the majority of his career looking out for his fellow soldiers as an Army medic. A devoted family man, his greatest passion was taking care of his wife and 2 children. But days before returning home for his daughter's birthday, Marcus was killed in action while on a rescue mission in Afghanistan. Fox Sports honors Sergeant Marcus Morales.
And we welcome you back to O.Co Coliseum here in Oakland on Memorial Day. Glad to have you with us. Old Glory flying proudly here in Oakland today. The Tigers and the Athletics doing battle here as we go to the top of the 3rd. And for the Tigers, it'll be Hernan Perez leading it off. He looks at a strike from the right-hander Hahn.
Hernan Perez making his first start at first base today.
Perez, Machado, and then Gose here in the Tigers' 3rd. He bends away from a pitch inside.
I was listening to the Bob Melvin show today. Of course, he's the manager of the Oakland Athletics, and he understands his team caught a little bit of a break this afternoon with Miggy not being in the starting lineup.
Look out, there goes the shattered bat. Well, it's not very often because you come to the ballpark every day and Cabrera is in the lineup literally every day.
Yeah, I had to take a double take at it today when I looked at the Tigers starting lineup and I did not see Miguel's name there.
It was bound to happen, and certainly Brad hinted that it was going to happen soon. But what made today probably the best day was the long trip yesterday and the fact that Cabrera's ankle was a little bit cranky, as Brad put it.
Like a spa day for the big fella.
There you go.
Get a nice massage, no batting practice, just kind of sit back and chill out and offer some advice to your teammates.
Swing and a miss, and Perez goes down on strikes.
Bob Melvin also went on to say that he expects to see Miguel as a pinch hitter at some point in time during the course of this game if it's a close one.
So here is Dixon Machado, his first major league at bat.
Bob Melvin, Brad Ausmus didn't waste any time getting Machado in the starting lineup, did he?
It's probably the best way to do it, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
So Machado batted .274 down in the minor leagues this year. Looks at ball one.
And Machado's always been known as a good glove man. coming up in the Tigers minor league system, but started to hit a little bit the last couple of years.
That's it for a strike. 1-1 the count. 23-year-old, a native of Venezuela. Good year last year offensively for Machado. Run the count to 2-1.
Tigers have a lot of players from Venezuela on their 25-man roster.
Machado had a big year last year after he was bumped up to Double-A Erie. Had a high on-base percentage, hit over 300. And sends a ground ball left side. Nice high hop for Muncy, who throws him out. 2 gone. Let's check in with John Keating.
Shocked nobody, Mario, that Justin Verlander was posing for a picture in the Tigers clubhouse this morning, but he was doing so with his jersey, the special jersey and caps that all the players are wearing in honor of Memorial Day. The camo jerseys will be auctioned off, and the proceeds from those sales will benefit the Welcome Back Veterans Committee, a group that provides grants to hospitals around the country who do great work on traumatic brain injury, and Major League Baseball, for their part, has committed $30 million to the program.
All right, Keats, thanks very much. Well, Anthony Gose flies to left field. That'll close out the inning as we go to the bottom of the third here on Memorial Day in Oakland. The playoffs the previous season, and you see the Athletics right there at 16-30. There have only been a couple of teams that have been worse.
Yeah, that's not a list that you want to be on.
And it's certainly a list the Athletics find themselves on right now as Shane Green goes back to work. And Green here in the third inning facing Full, Sogard, and Burns. Shane had a 22-pitch second inning. That's in there for a strike on Sam Fold. He has really been struggling. 085 over his last 24 games. And the average sub 200 as a result. Here's the 0-2. On one tough hop to second, Kinsler picks it and throws him out. One away. It'll bring us to the Bernstein advantage today. The pitcher-batter matchup here this afternoon.
Batting in the ninth position,
Eric Sogard career against the Tigers in 17 games. Not all that good. The Tigers have handled him pretty well, just $180. And the bespectacled second baseman will stand in now with 1 out. Sogard over 267, or at 267 right now, as Green drops in a breaking ball. 0-1 the count on the A's second baseman. Hadn't homered this year. He's knocked in 10. Flared down the third base line. Castellanos giving chase, sliding and making the catch. What a play! Nick Castellanos, with all that foul ground, stayed with it and turns in a dazzler. 2 gone.
And usually Castellanos does not give you a tremendous amount of range, but he covers a lot of ground here. And gobbling up that foul tip off the bat of Sogard. We were talking about all the foul ground territory here at the Coliseum. You'll lose quite a few at bats here if you play 81 of your 162 in this particular yard.
Billy Burns flying to left field his first time up, 0 for 1.
Green doing a nice job with his first pitch strike so far here today. He is 7 of 10.
Billy Burns had himself a terrific spring camp, 31 hits, which was the most in the major leagues during spring training. Really showed off. The Athletics, though, had signed Cody Ross, and so Burns wasn't given much of an opportunity, even though he was swinging the bat well.
He's got some good speed. He stole 54 bags last year in the minors, too. So when he gets on, he's a threat.
Here's the 2-1. Shattered bat, rolled back up the middle. Machado has it. And that's going to be that, a 1-2-3 inning for Green. He got a little help, though, from his third baseman, Nick Castellanos. Nice sliding play and foul ground. To take a hike yesterday after being pelted by the New York Yankees.
And Guthrie also has been known to give up quite a few gopher balls throughout his big league career.
Shallow fly ball right field. Sogard back to the grass. One pitch. Kinsler retired. One out. Hahn now has settled in nicely.
He's done a nice job of getting ahead of the Tigers. 8 of 11 in first pitch strikes, mostly with that good two-seam fastball, which allows him to get to his breaking ball or his slider. Changeup if you're a left-handed batter.
Here's Martinez. J.D. flying to right field in the first inning. 370 on the homestand for Martinez, who has been elevated to the 3 slot. And is hit in the air to right field. On the move is Reddick coming toward the line. And 2 quick outs in the Tiger fourth. Well, in honor of Memorial Day, Fox Sports proudly supports Folds of Honor and its mission of providing educational scholarships to families of military members who have been killed or disabled while serving our country. If you'd like more information, please visit foxsportssupports.com. Here's Yoenis Cespedes. Reaching on an error by the third baseman Muncy back in the second, but later he raced on a double play. Ball 1 to Yoenis.
Yeah, the Oakland Athletics, from an offensive standpoint, really haven't been the same since they decided to trade Yoenis Cespedes to the Boston Red Sox last July 31st. Something about guys that just have a knack of driving in runs that can bat in the middle of your batting order. And Cespedes was that guy here for Oakland for a couple of years.
And certainly not forgotten by the Athletics fans.
They gave him a really nice round of applause in his first at-bat here today.
The A's gave him a 4-year deal back in 2012.
I have a feeling that Billy Beane would make that trade again today if he had a chance to acquire John Lester.
Here's the 2-1. That's it for a strike. 2-2 on Cespedes. Yoenis back in 2012 finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting. Mike Trout won it and was certainly deserving of it. Hahn is ready with the 2-2. Here it is. Bouncing ball to second. Sogard on the move. Cespedes is out. Tigers go 1-2-3 for the second straight inning.
big money encounter. The Tigers have had a lot of success in this particular ballpark in the postseason. Back in 2012, Game 5, Justin Verlander pitched an outstanding game, and Justin Verlander did it again in 2013. Absolutely dominant against the Oakland Athletics batters.
Yeah, a lot of great memories here in recent postseason history for the Tigers. Shane Green going back to work as we play here in the 4th inning. Marcus Semien leading off, then Josh Reddick and Stephen Vogt.
Semien has a quick bat. I noticed that last year when he was playing for the Chicago White Sox. He didn't miss many fastballs, especially in fastball counts when he was looking for it.
Bit of a homecoming as well for Semien, who played his college ball at Cal in Berkeley.
Good school.
16 errors, though, this year.
That's a lot.
Which I guess kind of leads you to believe what you were talking about a little bit earlier. Maybe shortstop, not the long range position for Semien, who goes down.
Well, they just hired the defensive guru, Ron Washington, who spent a lot of years in an Oakland Athletics uniform as a third base coach. And then, of course, Washington went on to manage the Texas Rangers and had a lot of success in Texas. They have hired Ron Washington to help out with some of the infielders, and I'm sure that Semien will benefit from Ron Washington being around the club on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, we mentioned the Athletics, including today, have made 47 errors already this year.
And not only that, but the entire team will benefit from having a guy like Ron Washington around, who is very enthusiastic.
That ball is drilled high and deep to right field. Collins and Ghost go back up against the wall. Rounding second is Reddick, coming to third. The throw is going to be cut off, and it's going to be a triple for Josh Reddick.
Well, we told you about Josh Reddick when he stepped in the batter's box his first time up. He's having a good year, and he's really swinging the bat well in this particular ballpark. One of the few pitches that Shane Green has gotten up here today, and it was absolutely crushed off that wall in center field. Collins had to pick the ball up. Ghost probably got a little bit too close to that wall. Therefore, and once he did get there, the ball caromed off his hand, which allowed Reddick to get to a triple instead of a double.
So now here is Stephen Vogt trying to knock in Reddick, who has just picked up his 3rd triple.
Very seldom does Vogt swing at the first pitch.
Infield in for the Tigers, even though they have the shift on. They are in all the way around.
As a matter of fact, 91% of the time he will take the first pitch. That's how much confidence he has these days.
Vogt batting .312, had a single to start things off in the second. Triple has charged up the crowd a little bit. Bouncing ball to second with the infield in. The run will not score.
He hit it right into the teeth of the defense. Tigers had 3 defenders on the right side of the infield. Kind of surprised that Vogt didn't even take a swipe,
no doubt,
at trying to hit the ball the other way. I mean, just an attempt to try to hit the ball towards shortstop.
Well, and it's something we constantly talk about. I mean, there are just some hitters that really just don't care about the shift. They're not going to change their approach at all.
I mean, runner on third, less than 2 outs, and you would think, at least until 2 strikes, guys would try to drive the ball the other way, especially being overshifted like that.
Here's Butler now with 2 outs. Infield relaxed. They're all back with a runner at third. Billy Fawcett back out of play. Strange seeing Butler in A's colors. He had spent his entire career, was a draft choice of the Royals, spent 8 years in the major leagues there.
Nearly won a World Series with the Kansas City Royals.
I think it was pretty much obvious this last season was continuing that the Royals had no intentions of bringing Butler back. And Billy winds up with a contract here with the Oakland Athletics.
Oakland gave Billy Butler a 3-year contract.
Here's the 0-2. Softly hit to the shortstop on a line. That'll end the inning. Machado didn't know there were 3 outs. So nothing comes to the 1-out triple. The rookie's a little jittery today.
Yeah, he is. Too much coffee. Or Mountain Dew.
Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. Myers, save big with M-Perks from Myers. Sign up at mperks.com. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Back here in the Bay Area, you're looking at the Palace of Fine Arts. We've got a scoreless game as we go to the top of the 5th inning. The Athletics and the Tigers opening up this 3-game series here on Memorial Day. Glad you are with us as Tyler Collins leads it off against the right-hander Jesse Hahn. The 25-year-old has looked good so far, and he delivers strike 1 to Collins. Tyler knocked into a double play. The Tigers have done a lot of that this year. The 0-1 sinks low. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out of 11 in the homestand for Collins. One stays up and it's ripped to center field. So Collins has a leadoff single.
That ball was away from Collins, and he did exactly what you want to do with balls that are away from you. Simply hit them right through the box, and he did that. And we'll see if there's some activity with Castellanos and Collins. Possibly a hit and run if Castellanos gets himself in a favorable count. Hahn has already demonstrated the fact that he's got his good two-seamer today. His good sinker. He's thrown a lot of ground balls already.
Foul tipped at home plate. Castellanos a single in the second. One of the 2 Tigers hits.
The Tigers took batting practice this morning on the field. The Oakland Athletics did not take batting practice on the field. They hit in the cages.
.50 now for Jesse Hahn.
Had a nice conversation with Tigers first base coach Omar Vizquel, who played a long time in the majors. He said when traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast, the first day is not usually the issue. It's the second day that the jet lag kind of catches up to you.
What time did you wake up this morning?
I got about 5:30 this morning.
Me too. It was around the same time. That's whistled back out of play. 0-2 on Castellanos. Nick 7 RBIs in his last 5 games. Tigers haven't had too many threats in this game. In fact, they've only had a total of 3 base runners. And it'll be blocked at home plate by Vogt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Leadoff single here by Collins in the 5th. Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball back up the middle on a short hop. Semien unable to scoop it, and the Tigers now have runners at first and second.
I don't even think Semien was looking at that ball as he approached it. I mean, he stuck his glove out, but it didn't look like he was watching the ball into the glove.
That's going to be his 17th error.
Take a look at him. I mean, this is a do or die play, but not looking at the baseball. Therefore, and when he swiped at it, no doubt he was going to come up empty. He was looking down at the ground.
Second error of the ball game for the Athletics. And now we'll see if the Tigers can take advantage here with 2 on, nobody out. The other error belongs to the third baseman Muncy. There's James McCann. Ball 1. Quick throw back down to second. Ooh, they almost got him as Collins was slow to getting back into the bag.
A good secondary lead there by Collins, and he took about 3 steps toward third base. Vogt came up firing behind him and nearly got him.
McCann bounced into a force back in the second. He's 0 for 1. Collins let it off with a single. Castellanos reaching on an error.
Oakland A's have now committed 48 errors in 47 games.
Bluff back to second, runner back in.
I don't know about you though, but that last ground ball to Semien, that's a tough error for me. I don't know if he would have got Castellanos anyway, but he's made so many that they're probably picking on him a little bit here.
I was thinking the same thing. I initially wrote down a single in my scorebook.
I mean, probably plays should be made, but that's a tough error there.
17 of them now for Semien. There's another bouncer back up the middle. This time he has a chance to make up for it, and he will. That is a 6-3 double play.
I don't know what it is with this Tigers team, man, but boy, they've been grounded into a lot of twin killings lately.
So they have hit into 2 of them in this game. Collins in the second, and now McCann here in the 5th.
Number 26.
And that'll bring up Hernan Perez with a runner at third and 2 outs. Perez struck out in his only at bat. Brad Ausmus trying to find him some playing time. And he tries to bunt, offered at it at least.
Tigers have now hit into 50 double plays this year, which is the most in the majors.
They'll need a 2-out hit from Perez, who now is 0 for his last 14.
Somehow that just really doesn't equate. I mean, you've got the team that's leading the American League in stolen bases, but yet a team that's hitting into a lot of double plays too.
Here's the 1-0. Little chopper to third. Muncy has it there. Perez is out. And just like that, the threat fizzles for the Tigers. No runs, a single, an error, 1 man left. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire.
Green kind of working up at the strike zone today. As a result of that, 5 flyouts already in the game, 3 strikeouts for Green, 4 ground balls. He's done a nice job through 4 against the Oakland Athletics, but has not gotten any offensive support as of yet.
Not a whole lot of offense to speak of, period, here today. No runs on 2 hits for both teams. The breakdown on Shane Green, pretty even all the way around. Max Muncy will lead it off for the Athletics. It'll be Muncy, Canna, and then Fuld. Taking time now to pull the shift on as Castellanos moves over to the right side. Muncy struck out his first time up. And he sends a ground ball to the right side. Backhanded there by Perez. Nicely done as Green covers 1 out.
Perez is a natural shortstop or second baseman. He has had some reps at third base, but playing first base is not all that natural for him. But he makes a really nice play here, surrounding the ball with the backhand and a really nice feed to Green. He showed him the baseball, and he got the ball to Green before he got to first base, which allowed Green to catch it and then find the bag. Playing first base is not the easiest position to play if you've never really played there, with all the footwork and knowing the bunt plays and different things like that.
A lot of nuances to that position.
For sure.
Here is Mark Canna. Green starts him off up and in with a fastball.
And Miguel has been outstanding at first base this year. Has not made an error there. I think he's been on point, offensively and defensively.
That sinks in for a strike. 1-1 on Canna.
You got to keep the ball down against Canna. He's already homered 6 times this year. 20 last year.
Shane was able to pitch out of a jam in the 4th. Gave up a 1-out triple to Reddick. He hit it off the right field wall. He got a ground out from Vogt with the infield in. That saved a run. And then Butler lined out. Shane now putting his 4th consecutive really good start together here today. Missed it outside.
It's a good slider. It's a well located slider, down and away. You can't get hurt with where he threw that last pitch.
Here's the 2-2. That one slides outside again. It's fouled back out of play.
It's like Canna kind of leaning out over the heart of the plate. If you're Green here and you have any confidence in your 4-seam fastball, might not be a bad time to throw it inside.
Total of 60 now for Green. A pretty good play by that guy down the right field line. Wearing a Reggie Jackson uniform. 2-2.
They are going inside, but he missed with the fastball. He went 2-seamer inside. I was thinking more 4-seam.
Sam Fuld waiting on deck. Slice to right field. Collins coming on. Can't make the play. It'll be a 1-out hit for Canna. Hey, the only way to get a 1945 replica road jersey is to visit Tigers.com/jersey. Buy a special package to see the Tigers battle the Cubs June 9th through 10th. Exclusive packages are available only at Tigers.com/1945 jersey.
And great effort here by Tyler Collins, but he was playing rather deep, respecting the power of Canna, and once he came in and left his feet, not able to make that play.
3 hits for the Athletics. Sam Fuld standing up there now with an 0 for 1 going today. Fuld is a really good defender, but offensively he has really struggled this year. Especially during day games. He's only 4 for 46 in day games. It's been kind of a big issue. The Tigers have put up better numbers during the day this year than they have at night.
Right.
And then Fuld looks at a ball outside. Fold last year began the season with the A's. He went to the Twins and then was reacquired by the A's for the pennant stretch last year. It really kind of all fell apart for the Athletics. They were in first place with a large lead and then had to hold on for the wild card last year, one of the wild cards.
And then they had a huge lead in that playoff game against the Kansas City Royals, in which they ended up losing.
Runner goes, bouncer to second. They will not get the out at second base. Safe at first base. Ball got away, and meantime Kinsler tried to salvage one out but couldn't do it.
It's a good heads-up play here by Ian Kinsler. Even though the base runner was on the move, he still got the ball to the rookie shortstop Machado in a timely manner. And had Machado been able to field that ball, they would have been able to turn the double play, but never had a handle or never caught it. Should go as an E6.
Fielder's choice, E6. So Machado, the youngster, gets his first big league error. And each ball club now at least one. The Athletics have 2 errors. And they've got something going now for Eric Sogard. Sogard fouled out on a terrific play by the third baseman Castellanos. Comes back in the third. Strike one on Sogard. Eric hit just .223 last year with 1 home run in 2014.
Left-handers numbers better this year against Green and righties. Sub 200 batting average for righties against Green. Lefties over 300 against Shane.
Way inside.
And there are the splits that I just spoke of. Most of the extra base hit damage also done by left-handed bats.
Crowd starting to come alive a little bit here. No score. We're in the bottom of the 5th. 2 on for the Athletics. 1 out. Way high. 2-1 on Sogard. A's came into this game 7-16 in the month of May. Only Colorado had won fewer games in the month of May. Melvin hoping for a big hit here in the 5th. Fouled away. 2-2 on Sogard. Canna started things with a base hit and then the error by Machado on the feed at second base. Got him. Strike 3. Sogard caught looking. 2 outs.
3 of the 4 strikeouts today recorded by Shane Green have been strikeouts looking by the Oakland Athletics batters. Here is our high-speed pitch, and it is always brought to you by Xfinity. Top fastball so far this afternoon, thrown by Green at 94 miles an hour.
Two-out chance now for the leadoff man, Billy Burns. Hitless in 2 at bats, fly out, ground out. Burns at 301 now. Tap foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oakland, despite their struggles, came into this game today 4th in the American League in team average at .256. And they've got their best opportunity here now with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Green ready with the 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2 on Burns. Burns came over from the Washington organization, was a member of the national system. Jerry Blevins was dealt away a couple of years ago to get him. And he lifts this one in the air. Shallow left field, and Cespedes will get there to retire the side. So the A's threaten but do not score. 5 in the books here on Memorial Day in Oakland. No score.
Fast delivery of the game. We were told before the contest today if Jesse was going to be on, then he had to get a lot of ground balls, and the Tigers really have not been able to do anything with that really good two-seamer, about 92 to 93 miles an hour. He has thrown 10 ground ball outs already in this game, make that 11 ground ball outs thrown in this game, and he has also thrown 2 double plays.
Dixon Machado is 0 for 2 in his major league debut, bouncing out to the second baseman Sogard.
Now batting, number 12.
Here's the ground ball number for Jesse Hahn. 4 in the air, 1 strikeout. That's it. He struck out Hernan Perez back in the 3rd.
His pitch count is in outstanding shape as well. 58 pitches thrown. He's making it happen on the first couple of pitches thrown to all these Tigers hitters.
Anthony Gose is 0 for 2, ground out, fly out. Anthony, another big homestand. He had 9 hits on the last homestand. The average now at .331. And he's had 14 multi-hit games this year. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gose.
And Ghost getting a chance to go home in a couple of days, back to Southern California.
Here's the 1-1. I would imagine his pass list will be a little bit beefy.
For sure.
Down in Anaheim.
The product of the Urban Youth Baseball Academy down in South Central Los Angeles.
3 balls, 1 strike.
There's been some talk that they're going to put one of those academies in Detroit.
Yeah, you were saying that the other day. That'd be great for the city of Detroit.
In the near future, they have one in Los Angeles, they have one in Houston, and they're going to consider putting one in Detroit.
Hans 3-1. He'll get fouled down the left field line. Ghost has shown an ability to hit the ball really anywhere in the field. I mean, we've seen him turn around 95, 96 mile an hour fastballs. He will also slice as he did that time down the left field line.
It's kind of come into his own first couple of months of the 2015 season.
Two is strike 3 called. He knew it. That'll only be the second strikeout for Jesse Hahn. Hey, Saturday Major League Baseball on Fox Sports 1 returns. The Diamondbacks take on the Brewers at 4 p.m. Eastern. Then at 7 p.m. Eastern, it's Baseball Night in America on Fox. Royals take on the Cubs. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. 2 gone to the Tigers' 6th. Here is Ian Kinsler. Ground out pop up for Kinsler, who right now, Rod, is in the roughest stretch he has had this year. 0 for 18. Is there anything that you've been able to pick up on?
No, I really haven't been able to pick up anything on Ian. I mean, it's just the ebbs and flows of a long major league season. I mean, you're going to have weeks where you're just not putting the ball in play the way that you're capable of.
That ball is off the glove of the third baseman Muncy, and the air total is starting to really pick up now for the Athletics. It's their third of the game.
And first of all, Ian Kinsler doesn't bunt all that often, but Muncy's playing in on the cut of the grass, and therefore Ian Kinsler able to reach.
That is the 5th game now this season that the Athletics have had at least 3 errors.
There's Ron Washington, and he's writing down some notes as we speak. They just hired him a few days ago to come in and help out with the defense, in the infield in particular. And Ron Washington spent about 10 years as a third base coach in Oakland. He watched several guys win Gold Gloves. Eric Chavez. He worked very well with Miguel Tejada when Tejada was a youngster. And if nothing else, his enthusiasm and his work ethic will pay off. Just being around this ball club.
In the air to center field off the bat of J.D. Martinez. It's going to be out number 3 as Burns runs it down, and Hahn able to sidestep the air. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th.
Growing up a star athlete in St. Louis, Dan Reardon was always rooting for his beloved Cardinals. After graduating from college, Dan became a tank commander in the U.S. Army and was known for placing a 2006 World Series bumper sticker on his tank. But in 2007, Daniel's life was cut short by an IED blast. Fox Sports honors Lieutenant Daniel Reardon.
And back here at the Coliseum in Oakland, we go to the bottom of the 6th inning on Memorial Day. The Tigers and Athletics, no score. Shane Green going back to the hill. Marcus Semien leading things off, and he fouls off the next pitch, 0-2.
Really, both of the starting pitchers here this afternoon are doing a very nice job. Jesse Hahn for them and Shane Green for us.
Semien fly ball strikeout. He leads their team with 52 hits. Fouled back, and the count stays 0-2. Semien acquired from the Chicago White Sox. He came over in the Jeff Samardzija deal. They also got the catcher Josh Fegley in that deal as well. Spent parts of the last 2 years with the White Sox. Little chopper back up the middle. Here comes Machado. And he threw wide at first base. Runner is safe. It'll be a base hit for Semien.
Yeah, they're quick to pass out those base hits for them. Here is the Nissan Drive of the going game. The last time Reddick was up, it was the 4th inning. He got a sinker ball inside, pulled his hands in nicely, and tripled off the right center field wall. And that is now 8 extra base hits for Josh Reddick at home, where he has performed a lot better than he has on the road.
Reddick also extended his hitting streak to 5 in a row with his 3-bagger.
I told you earlier that he is also one of the hitters on the Athletics team that doesn't swing at the first pitch that often. So you can throw it right down the plate. Middle, a lot of times when Reddick's in the batter's box, he takes 90% of the time.
Reddick has been really good at home this year. Came in over 400 here at the Coliseum. Leadoff man on for the Athletics for the 2nd time in this game. This time, though, they have the middle of their lineup coming up.
Shane Green utilizes a slide step, which allows him to get the ball to James McCann in a timely manner. And should Semien try to steal, he better get a good jump, because McCann's got a gun behind the plate.
Semien this year 7 of 8 in stolen base opportunities. Driven down the right field line, and he'll drop in, base hit. Semien on his way to third base. Ball cut off, and the Athletics now have runners at first and third and nobody out.
Semien took one look at Tyler Collins and realized how deep he was playing against Reddick, and knew it would be no issue for him to get to third base.
So now they've got their best hitter up there, and Stephen Vogt, who is 1 for 2 in this game.
And last time Vogt was up, he also had a runner on third base with just 1 out, and he grounded out to the second baseman.
Tigers had the infield in, saving the run that time. Vogt now with runners at first and third, nobody out.
Stephen Vogt has been successful 60% of the time in this particular situation. A runner on third, less than 2 outs. You could see the major league average is just over 50%.
Best scoring opportunity of the day for the Athletics. Vogt takes a hack and rolls it foul. He has been really good this year with men in scoring positions when he does his best work. 429 as you look at the numbers on Green. is a foul ball. Just foul down the right field line. Good scoop down there by the ball boy. It's a big time play.
That's an outstanding play down there by the ball boy.
Joppa, man.
Joppa gave him a little pat on the backside. He jumped up and got after that. And cheesing from ear to ear.
Check it out.
I know.
And then he cool and calmly handed out a souvenir. Nice play, young man. Lefty, too.
Right.
Here's the 0-2. Ooh, look out, up and in. Bluff of a throw down to third.
And the reason why the Tigers are defending Vogt this way is the majority of his hits have gone to the right side of the infield. Doesn't utilize left field all that often. 23 base hits that way, and that's why they're overshifting him. He hit it right into the teeth of that defense the last time he was up. The Tigers are hoping for another one of those ground balls. Or a strikeout would be even better.
Better yet, get a strikeout here, then get your ground ball. You got Butler waiting on deck. Ground ball machine. Popped him out. That'll work.
And it looks like you're going to get your wish. Billy Butler might just hit into his 9th double play of the year.
Castellanos makes the play, leaving runners at first and third, and now Butler. Green can get him to hit something on the ground.
Is the second
Ausmus
time
comes walking out.
Excuse me, that's the second time today. A runner on third, less than 2 outs, and Vogt didn't get him in. Yeah, this visit right here by Brad Ausmus is simply to talk to his infielders about a possible steal, what he wants McCann to do with the baseball should they put a runner in motion, especially with Semien on third base and Semien having speed.
Hey, the baseball season is a marathon, not a sprint. If you like Tigers baseball and running, you'll want to buy this t-shirt and ticket package for June 3rd when the Tigers play Oakland at 7:08. Visit tigers.com/run to order.
Now batting, designated hitter, number 16, Billy.
There's Billy Butler now.
21% chance of hitting into a twin killing here for the Tigers off the bat of Billy Butler.
Butler, though, has hit the ball in the air twice in this game. Fly out and a line out. First and third, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Game 1 in this series featuring the Tigers and Athletics. Butler at .265. He's hit 4 home runs this season. Ground ball deep in the hole. Machado goes down to a knee, throws to second, safe there, and a run will score. Semien comes in. They got the ground ball, but it was hit in the hole.
Nice range here shown by Dixon Machado, going over, going to one knee and firing a strike to Kinsler. Kinsler stretches out like a first baseman and trying to get the ball in his glove before Reddick slides in safely. It's a nice job of hustling there by Josh Reddick.
RBI for Butler is 23rd of the year. The A's have scored the game's first run. Marcus Semien led it off with a base hit, and he has come around to score. Here's Max Muncy now with runners at first and second, 1 out. McCann held it there, ball 1.
You have to watch Reddick here at second base. There is a left-hander in the batter's box, which makes it difficult for him to steal, but in his career, he is 5 of 5 in steals of third base.
Two and 0. Green able to pitch out of trouble in the 4th and the 5th inning as well, but they've gotten to him here in the 6th. Muncy strikeout, ground out. There is action in the Detroit bullpen. That is Blaine Hardy. Driven toward the gap in right center field. That ball is down. It's cut off by Collins. 1 run will score. Reddick coming in. It's going to be a double and an RBI for Max Muncy.
Muncy batting .233 on the season before this at bat, but he has himself in a 2-0 count, and he gets a fastball that is right down the middle. And he did with it exactly as you're taught to do in those particular counts. You get out in front of it, and you hit it to the pull field. Nice job by Collins getting over to cut that ball off.
2-0 Athletics. Second and third, 1 out. And Mark Canha will step in. All of a sudden, the A's have 7 hits on the board. 4 of them here in the 6th. Canha had a single in his last at bat. In the air to center field. Butler tagging. Ghost lines it up. Catch is made, and the throw will come into third. Sacrifice fly, and an RBI for Mark Canha. 3-0 ball game now. Time for a game break. To the studio and Justin White.
Now batting, left fielder, number 23, Sam Falls.
Justin, thank you. How about those Twins, man?
Man, they've won 7 games in a row, dude. 7 games in a row, and they're playing outstanding baseball at home. Target Field. They're in second place.
Here's Sam Fuld. So it's a 3-run inning for the Athletics. 2 outs now. Fuld is 0 for 2. Drill down the right field line. That's going to get down and score another run. Collins goes to the warning track to collect that one. It's going to be a double for Fuld, an RBI, and the A's lead 4-0. That'll be it. Here comes Brad Ausmus. And so Green will not survive the 6th.
Happened quick again today in the 6th inning, just like it happened with Anibal Sanchez yesterday.
So Blaine Hardy will come in out of the Detroit bullpen. It's a wall side windows pitching change here at the Coliseum. We'll be back. Here's Blaine Hardy. He checks in now. He's not allowed an earned run in his last 15 games.
And because of that, the earned run average has come all the way down to 3.12 in the 18 games that Hardy has pitched in.
Here is Sogard now with the runner at second, 2 outs. And Hardy throws strike one.
I wanted to correct something that I said to you just a moment ago regarding the Minnesota Twins. I was looking at the standings wrong. It's the Cleveland Indians that have been a hot team and have won 6 games in a row, looking to win their 7th consecutive game. Minnesota has won 3 games in a row, so my mistake.
Twins, though, have moved into second place in the Central. Sogard 0 for 2. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 runs on 5 hits in this inning for the Athletics. 2-1.
Oakland Athletics have won their last 2 games. Those games played down in Florida against the Tampa Bay Rays. They are looking to win their 3rd consecutive game. The last time they won 3 consecutive games, you have to go back to August 17th through the 19th. It's been a long time.
A long, long time. And while they haven't won this game yet, I mean, that's kind of a snapshot of what their second half was like last year and the start of this year. Soft liner, tough play. Machado with a diving catch. Dixon Machado makes the play to end the inning. However, it's a big inning for the A's. They score 4 times on 5 hits. They leave a man, and we go to the 7th. The 7th inning now in Oakland. The Tigers are down by 4 runs, 4-0 in favor of the A's. The Athletics have put up a total of 8 hits. The Tigers only 2 against Jesse Hahn. The 25-year-old native of Connecticut goes back to work, and Yoenis Cespedes leads it off for Detroit.
And last couple of days, the 6th inning has been a tough inning for Tigers pitching. And they gave up 4 runs yesterday in the 6th, and they gave up 4 here today in the 6th inning. Both guys just cruising. Sanchez cruising yesterday. Green was cruising here today.
Cespedes to be followed by Collins and Castellanos. And there is ball 3 high. Got a new third baseman now for the A's. That is Andy Perino replacing Max Muncy. And he walked him, so the leadoff man is on. On this Memorial Day, USAA honors those who gave everything in their service to our country. Here is Tyler Collins now with the leadoff man on. Tigers trying to get something going here. And a strike called. Collins a single and a double play ball.
And Jesse Hahn has had a really good two-seam fastball here today, and it's worked to his advantage. He's already thrown 11 ground ball outs in the game.
It's fouled back. No balls, 2 strikes. On at 73 in this game now. Tigers had an error and a single in the second, couldn't score. Single and an error again in the 5th, couldn't score. Another error in the 6th for the A's, but couldn't score. One ball, 2 strikes. On now with 1-2. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Collins. Tyler, 3 hits since coming up from AAA Toledo. Began the year in the minor leagues. And the 2-2. High fly ball. Shallow center field. It's going to be the left fielder, Fold, to make the play.
That's one of the things they're trying to get Burns, the center fielder, into being a little bit more aggressive in center field. That's probably his ball. He is in center field, but he gives way to the left fielder, Fold. And they say one of the reasons why he's not that aggressive out there is he's playing the outfield with Crisp and Fold and Gentry. When he was here, those guys are center fielders, and sometimes he's just not as aggressive out there as he needs to be.
Well, here's Castellanos. Nick on base twice in this game. Rolls that one foul. .244 now for Nick. He's made a nice defensive play, a nice sliding catch and foul ground. Tigers offense has been limited to just 2 hits today, so far at least, by Jesse Hahn. Swing and a miss. 0-2 on Castellanos.
Hahn, his pitch count is in outstanding shape. He's only thrown 78 pitches, and he's in the 7th inning here today.
Yeah, it's been great. He's been helped out by a couple of double plays. He got one in the 2nd, got another one in the 5th. Does not have a high strikeout total, and you total that all up, and you see that Jesse now at 78.
15, the most pitches that he has thrown in any one inning.
Castellanos has hit safely now in 15 of his last 19 games. He's still trying to get those consecutive games where he has a couple of hits, get the batting average up. Meanwhile, Miguel Cabrera just probably itching to get into this ball game, loosening up a little bit.
If you're Bob Melvin, though, you're a lot more comfortable with a 4-run spread and Miggy sitting on that bench versus if it was a closer game.
Cabrera's first day off this year. Castellanos takes outside 1-2. James McCann will be next. A's got all 4 of their runs in the bottom of the 6th. Chasing Shane Green from the ball game. Broken Mad will pop up towards second and caught in short center field by Sogard. 2 outs.
And to be perfectly honest with you, the Tigers hitters really have not gotten a lot of good swings today against Jesse Hahn. When he came in, numbers not looking all that great. They had lost his last 5 starts, but we heard he had a really good 2-seam fastball and a curveball, and he's used that 2-seamer to his advantage today.
Here's McCann, who has hit into one of those double plays the Tigers have bounced into today. James has put the ball on the ground twice in this contest, batting .293 now. Ball 1. Hahn earlier this year had to battle a blister on his middle finger, and that was after his 3rd start, and he had to wait 11 days before it finally healed up, and he made his 4th start of the year. Here's the 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. And a little visit to the mound now from catcher Stephen Vogt. Hahn was one of those guys that terrorized high school hitters. He was a really good high school pitcher, as obviously most are that get to this level. But his ERA his senior year was 0.17. He threw a no-hitter, threw several one-hitters. He went on to play his college ball at Virginia Tech.
And he's got that built-in height advantage. He stands 6 feet 5 inches, and with those long arms, that high 3/4 arm slot allows him to get a lot of sink on his fastballs like that. It's a great pitch.
2-1.
He's been down there all day with that 2-seamer. Catcher today, Vogt just sitting up right down the heart of the plate and allowing that sinker to do its thing.
So Hahn now 1 pitch away from getting through the 7th.
And normally the Tigers an outstanding team and when they face guys with a sinker baller, they don't try to pull the ball. They just simply hit the ball the other way, which is what you want to do against a sinker baller. Let it travel so you're not rolling over all day to the left side of the infield if you're a right-handed batter.
Hahn has not gone 7 full in any start yet this year. Cespedes back in there. Ioannis started the inning with a walk. He's still standing there.
And a lot of people here in Oakland had a lot of really nice things to say about Yoenis Cespedes, who spent a few years here in their uniform and put up good numbers as an Oakland Athletic.
And the 2-2. Ground ball back up the middle. They'll flip to second for the force, and that will end the inning. So the Tigers get a walk, but leave a man. Coming up, the Dick Scott Automotive 7th inning stretch. Air Force Band of Golden West Travis Air Force Base, located in Fairfield, California.
As we pause to remember brave men and women
who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our country. We ask that you please join us now in this moment of silence as a collective, united expression of gratitude to the heroes who lost their lives while protecting the freedoms we enjoy today. Thank you. And now to honor America by singing God Bless America from the United States Air Force Band of the Golden West at Travis Air Force Base, Airman First Class Stephanie Allen and Airman First Class Michelle Doolittle.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Leading off the bottom of the seventh inning for the Athletics, center fielder, number 1.
Back here in Oakland, we go to the bottom of the seventh on Memorial Day. The Tigers are down to the A's. 4-0 is our score. Blaine Hardy goes back to the mound, and the top of the lineup coming up for the A's. 4 runs on 8 hits for the Athletics. No runs on 2 hits for Detroit. Billy Burns leads it off and looks at ball 1. Burns 0 for 3, popped up in his last at bat. One ball, 1 strike. He's got 4 runs on 5 hits in the 6th, and that has been all the scoring this afternoon. Tigers have gone with Green and now Hardy. Here's the 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Billy Burns. Marcus Semien waiting on deck. He got things started in their big 4-run 6th inning. And Burns chops that one foul at home plate. First of 3 between these two ball clubs. The Tigers and Athletics go at it again tomorrow in the middle game. David Price towing the slab for Detroit.
Yeah, David Price threw the ball outstanding 5 days ago and said he felt the best that he'd felt all year long.
Fly ball in the air toward left center, hit pretty good, but Ghost has a beat on.
Yeah, a lot of real estate out in center field, and Anthony Ghost has tremendous speed out there.
One out, here's Marcus Semien. There really wasn't a whole lot going on offensively in this game until Semien started the 6th with a single. They had a couple of base hits to start that frame. And I know when we watched him play with the White Sox, Rod, both of us always felt that the guy's a pretty good athlete. You figured, there's got to be a place somewhere in the big leagues for him.
He's got some good bat speed.
Chopper right back to Hardy. Lane will throw him out.
Here is our Comerica Bank game summary, and it happened quickly against Shane Green in the 6th infield single by Semien. Butler also had an infield single. Yeah, Billy Butler with an infield single and an RBI. Reddick got his 2nd knock of the game. Sam Fold, he doubled down the right field corner to drive in the 4th run of that inning, and that was the last pitch that Shane Green threw here today.
That'll bring up Reddick, who's had a nice day. Single, triple, run scored. Hardy stays away, 1-0. They'll get back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And one thing going well for the Tigers tomorrow is that Oakland, well, David Price can beat just about anybody, but Oakland really struggles this year against left-handed pitching.
Yeah. And Price, one of the best left-handers in the league. Ground ball right side, right into the shift. Castellanos in short right field gets him by a step. That is a 5-3 ground out, a 1-2-3 inning for Blaine Hardy, and we go to the 8th. National team against the best teams in the world in search of their 3rd World Cup title. The only place you can see the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup is on Fox and Fox Sports 1 beginning June the 6th. A's lead at 4-0 here on Memorial Day as we go to the top of the 8th inning. The Tigers have some work to do here against right-hander Jesse Hahn, who has not allowed a whole lot. In fact, 0 in the run column and only 2 hits so far in this game. Hernan Perez, Dixon Machado, Anthony Gose. 8-9-1 facing the right-hander Hahn. And that is in for a strike, 0-1.
You have said that a lot here today. And it's one of the reasons why Hahn has been so successful. 15 of 26 in first pitch strikes.
0-2. Hernan Perez, strikeout, ground out. Swing and a miss, and it got away from the catcher, Vogt. Tigers get a break there as Perez strikes out, but he'll reach. And the leadoff man is on. That's going to be called a wild pitch on the strikeout, allowing the runner to reach. Only the third strikeout of the day for Hahn. Here's Dixon Machado.
It's the fourth wild pitch uncorked this year by Jesse Hahn.
Machado has hit 2 ground balls in this game. Dixon making his major league debut, was told last night on the flight over from Detroit to Northern California. Brad Ausmus let him know you're starting today. Here's the 0-1. Bouncing ball right back up the middle. This might be another double play. And it is 4-6-3. Boy, the Tigers have hit into 3 more of those today.
51 on the year, which paces the major leagues. And Sogard, 2 hands, nice little toss to Simeon, who's able to complete the twin killing.
2 gone for Anthony Gose.
If you're Jesse Hahn, you couldn't have pitched a better game here today.
Well, you said it. He gave up a single in the 5th to Collins and a single to Castellanos in the 2nd. He's gotten his ground balls when he's needed them.
He's gotten 12 of those.
Gose hitless, 0 for 3. Ground out, fly out, strikeout. Here's the 0-1. Lace to center field. That'll drop in. Base hit.
It's a nice job there by Gose with all the sinker balls that Hahn has thrown here today. He got one up, but you could see that Anthony Gose wasn't going to roll over. He allowed this ball to stay deep in the strike zone. He basically jammed himself and fought it off. Good at bat by Anthony.
That'll bring up Kinsler. 0 for 3, reaching on an error by the third baseman Muncy his last time up. Strike 1 to Kinsler. His hitting slump now has reached 0 for 19.
Yeah, that batting average has dipped under 300, well under 300 for Ian. He's at 283.
Tyler Clippard warming up in the Oakland bullpen. Their first activity in this game today.
Former Washington National Tyler Clippard.
Well, like he has found himself so many times in this stretch, he's behind in the count 0-2.
That's something Hahn has been doing all afternoon. He's been attacking all the Tigers hitters. You know, he's only gone to a 3-ball count 3 times today.
Here's the 0-2. A little pop up. That's going to go down the right field line, but foul. Well, be a chance. Let's check in with John Keating.
There's always competitions within the competition, and so it was for Ian Kinsler and Miguel Cabrera. Neither of them had had a day off until today. When Kinsler heard that Cabrera was off today, he let out a whoop in the Tigers clubhouse and made sure he knew that Kinsler was in the lineup this evening. And tomorrow we'll have a pregame show dedicated to Miguel Cabrera. Is he the greatest Tiger ever? We'll compare him to Cobb and Kaline and Greenberg. That's tomorrow at 9 on Fox Sports Detroit, guys.
All right, Keats, thanks. We look forward to that. That'll be a fun show.
Well, Mr. Tiger, Al Kaline, he answered that question last year. He said Miguel Cabrera is the best Tigers player he's ever seen.
Tomorrow at 9 on Fox Sports Detroit. Where does Miguel Cabrera fit in with all of the other Tiger greats? There have been a lot of them through the years. Kinsler grounds it foul again. It is often difficult, and I think almost impossible, when you start to compare players from different eras, just because of the different things that they've either had to deal with or challenges, or, you know, obviously guys that play in this era have to deal with guys that come out of the bullpen and throw 95 to 100 miles an hour every night. But certainly Cabrera has to be mentioned among the greats.
Yeah, Hank Greenberg, he was driving 140, 150 runs back in his day.
Swing and a miss. Kinsler down on strikes. Inning over, no runs. They get a hit. One man left. Let's go to the bottom of the 8th. 4-0 Athletics. Here come the A's now. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. 4-0 in favor of the Athletics. Wayne Hardy back to the hill, and Stephen Vogt leads it off for Oakland. Vogt, Butler, and then Perino. The Athletics in this ball game. 4 runs, 8 hits. Tigers, no runs, 3 hits. Vogt looks at a ball low. Run the count to 2-0. Well, the day so far today has belonged to Jesse Hahn, who was able to sidestep 3 errors behind him in this game and has shut the Tigers out through 8.
Give him some credit, because in the past he really hasn't been able to pitch around the mistakes that had been made behind him, but today he was able to focus and got the outs despite some shoddy defense.
No, Vogt will lead things off with a walk.
Let's take a look at the big boy, big plays of the game. You brought up the 3 double plays. Collins hit to 1 into 1. That was back in the 2nd inning. And then you have McCann hitting into another one. That was the 5th inning. And then Dixon Machado, he just hit into 1 in the 8th inning.
Brad Ausmus out to the mound. Tigers have had the right-hander Wilson warming up. They've got Butler coming up. We'll see what Brad wants to do here. Is got the home plate umpire out there to make him make a decision. And Wilson wants to know as well. And he's made the call to the bullpen. So Blaine Hardy faces the first man, the lefty Vogt. He will depart the scene. And we've got another wall side windows pitching change. Tigers go again to the bullpen. We'll be back. Here is Alex Wilson. He is the new Tigers pitcher.
He's done a nice job. 18 2/3 innings, the ERA, just a shade under 2.5. He has punched out 13. He's only walked a couple, and his whip is well under 1.
He will face Billy Butler here after the leadoff walk to Stephen Vogt. Wilson picked up his first win as a Tiger on Thursday against Houston, 2 scoreless innings. Line drive, right field, down, a base hit. On his way to second and beyond is Vogt. He's going to third, and Butler has a single, and now the Athletics have him at the corners. Second hit of the game for Butler.
And Billy Butler wore the Kansas City Royals uniform for all of his major league career with the exception of this season, and he has worn out Tigers pitching. Just a really nice piece of hitting by Billy. It's a breaking ball that is down, and consciously he is trying to stay inside the ball, inside out swing the opposite way to get Vogt over to third.
9th hit of the game for the Athletics. Tigers can't afford to give any more up here. They're down 4-0 in the 8th. Perino gets his first at bat. Took over defensively for the third baseman Muncy. .273 in Nashville, 4 home runs, called up Friday for the Athletics. Here's the 0-1. Three stints last year with the A's for Perino. Walk and a single here in the 8th. Tigers in the 9th have Martinez, Cespedes, Collins due up. And Cabrera on the bench if needed. Miggy has not put that bat down for a while. Swing and a miss. Perino is out of there, one gone. Don't forget, you can follow the Tigers all season long in 2015 with MLB.com at Bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment. With in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, and more. Get at Bat for your smartphone or your tablet. He's checking out at Bat as we speak.
It's a great app.
Unfortunately, at Bat right now is telling him the A's lead 4-0. Canna looks at ball one. He had himself a sacrifice fly back in the 6th inning. He's hit 6 home runs this year. Ball 2. The 12th appearance for Alex Wilson out of the bullpen. And he didn't even begin the season on the Tigers roster. They called him up on April 22nd toward the end of the first month of the year, but Brad Ausmus has trusted him quite a bit. That's in for a strike, 2-1.
And Wilson recorded his first win as a Tiger on Thursday versus the Houston Astros, tossing 2 scoreless innings of relief in that game. It was an extra inning game they played against the Astros.
Lifted in the air towards shallow center field. Ghost on the charge. Running play. Runner will tag but hold. Ghost's throw way off target. It gets by the catcher, but fortunately for the Tigers, backed up by Wilson, and the run will not score. Two gone.
It's a nice job there by Wilson getting back there on that fly out to center field.
Now batting, left fielder, 23, Sam Fuld.
Here is Sam Fuld. Still a 4-0 game. Fuld a double and an RBI in the 6th.
Remember a couple of years ago when Fuld came up to the majors with Tampa, and he was making all those catches in the outfield, diving all over the place. He had a Superman cape. You remember that?
I do remember that. He was throwing his body all over the place.
He was.
Making great catches.
And still doing it.
Sam Fuld had that run-scoring double in the 6th, but offensively it's been a struggle for him this year. One ball, one strike. Listen, wanted to know where that one was. He's got a chance to come in here and put out the fire after there were runners at 1st and 3rd with nobody out. Fuld let it off with a single. Butler then had a base hit. Sprayed foul back out of play.
Chevy brings you the high-strength steal, and it was Castellanos who stole that bat away from Eric Sogard, their second baseman. That was back in the 3rd inning. Nice play by Castellanos.
One and 2 on Sam Fuld. Ooh, look out, there goes the bat. Ball was fouled straight back. The bat went whistling into the Tigers dugout. Morris Stickham, please.
Just don't hit Miggy.
I was about to say the same thing. Need to build a fence around Cabrera in there.
Or Price. There's a few of them down there.
There's a ton of them, actually.
You can't hit a few of them down there.
1 and 2. And Miggy's in the corner over there. He's got a bat of his own in his hands. Well protected. Swing and a miss, and he struck him out. Wilson, terrific job to put up fire here in the 8th. All right, Justin, thank you. It is indeed the 9th inning here. Last call for the Tigers. They will send up J.D. Martinez to lead things off in the 9th. And he'll swing in the first pitch and pop it up foul, but back out of play.
Yeah, that was just the 100th pitch delivered this afternoon by Jesse Hahn. If you're wondering, his major league high in pitches thrown is 108. And he's trying to do something here today he's never done. Throw a shutout.
Here's the 0-1. That sails inside. I was thinking, you know, it'd be cool if Hahn had a sister named Shaka.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan.
She was nice. Shaka. She could sing too.
That she could. JD waiting on a 1-1. Ball up and in, 2-1 the count. Hahn, the recipient of 3 double play balls in this game, which has kept him out of any real trouble. There's a strike called, and now it's 2-2 on JD.
Starting to get some balls up in this inning. JD and beefing about that last call, but it had plenty of plate. I don't know if JD thought it was up or out or what, but I mean, it's the upper reaches of the strike zone.
Yeah, maybe had a bit of a beef there. Here's the 2-2. That one was way up. 3-2.
Yeah, every pitch in this at bat to JD has been up in the strike zone. And if he happens to lose JD, Bob Melvin might just go get him.
Clippard warming up. Is that a sign of maybe he's tiring a bit?
Yes, indeed.
Here's the 3-2. Oh, got him. Strike 3. JD was headed to first base, and he's called out. 1 gone. 5 strikeouts now for Hahn. Where was it? Let's see.
Now batting, number 52, Yoenis Cespedes.
Right on the edge. That's a 50-50 ball right there. Could have gone either way. Here's Cespedes. Yoenis a walk. 0 for 2 otherwise. Strike one. Whistled foul down the right field line. So now it's an 0-2 hole for Cespedes. Of 31 in the first pitch strike category. Tigers got to get some base runners here. Don't forget they've got Cabrera on the bench. Did not start today, but they're down by 4. All 4 of the runs for the Athletics were scored in 1 inning, the 6th. Bouncing ball back up the middle. Semien ranging left. His throw is in time. Out by half a step. And the Tigers are going to look at this.
Looked out.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they're going to wave it off.
From the naked eye, I thought he might have been safe, but I think he was out.
That is now 15 ground balls thrown this afternoon by Jesse Hahn, who has pitched an outstanding game. Tigers on the verge of being shut out for the 5th time this year.
Here's a base hit to right field as Collins is not going down just yet. That's his 2nd hit of the game.
I think Bob Melvin going to give him one more batter.
Here is Castellanos.
Kurt Young is sitting next to Bob Melvin. Bob Melvin is giving the signs, and Kurt Young is jotting some stuff down on his clipboard.
Longest outing of the year for Jesse Hahn in terms of total pitches, which is 110, and innings as well. Nick swings and misses 0-1. Hits it in the air to right. Should do it. Straight at Reddick, and Oakland wins game 1 in the series.
Only the 6th win of the season here at home for Oakland, and Jesse Hahn, he just dealt today.
First career complete game shutout for Jesse Hahn. The longest he had gone previously. 7 innings. Did that 3 times. He was good today. We'll be back.